Everybody, I'm Jimmy McGill. I'm a person in long-term recovery from the disease of addiction. Thanks for tuning in. You are watching the Recovery Clinic. If you haven't already hit the like button and followed the page, please do so now. We have got a totally amazing show today. But first, some housekeeping. The Recovery Clinic was developed as a social media recovery support service. So if you are struggling with addiction, alcoholism, or one of your loved ones are, or somebody that has recently passed away and you need help, you can message this page for free and we will get you connected with the people you need to be. Because honestly, no person in addiction need ever die from that disease again. So we thank you for tuning in. Please share it, invite your friends. We've got a great show today. But before I introduce our two amazing guests and the place that they're from, I would like to recognize and honor somebody who is very close to my wife and I, and a lot of people in the recovery community. Her name was Brittany Bennett, and she died from a fentanyl overdose last week, and yesterday was Brittany's funeral. Brittany was a really amazing girl. She was sweet, she had a kind spirit, and she left behind children. And so the more we ignore the stigma that keeps people from getting clean, the more we're going to bury people that don't deserve to die. And so with that said, my wife is here today. Hey, and this is Grant Lee. Grant is the CEO, owner-operator of Incura Treatment Center. And Chelsea is the drug counselor there that works under Grant. And so it's a really cool place. We're going to spotlight some of the unique stuff about Incura and what makes it really original. So with that said, Grant, Chelsea, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Are you guys? Are you nervous?
We're a little nervous.
A little nervous?
Chelsea,
How about
Chelsea more so?
I'm probably making y'all nervous.
She's freaking out.
She's freaking me out, and I'm the host.
Yeah.
No, I'm teasing.
I'm trying to just be yourself. Just be yourself.
Yeah, just be yourself. So talk to me. What's going on with Incura?
So, what do you mean? Like, what do we do?
Yeah, what is Incura? Tell me about Incura.
So, Incura, we started out as a medical detox or an ambulatory detox, which is an outpatient detox. You come in the morning, you leave in the evening time.
Right.
And we use a non-narcotic IV form of NAD plus.
What is NAD?
That's nicotinamide
Who?
adenine. Exactly.
This is the funny part.
And the last name is denucleotide. It didn't take me but 6 months to learn how to say it.
D who?
Denucleotide.
Now say it in Spanish.
But what that is, that's a coenzyme that our body, how I like to explain it to people is that God give us something to fix our bodies with, and that's NAD.
Okay.
It's the fuel that drives the repair in our DNA. And we metabolite that from several different things like niacin.
Mm-hmm.
But in addiction, why we see such success with addiction is that our bodies are so beat up.
Yeah.
By the time we're in addiction, actively living that life, our bodies just can't keep up with the repair. So the IV NAD, we give that over a 10-day period, and it's repairing those cells that the drugs have.
So it's fixing the damage that the dope did.
It's fixing the damage.
Right. Okay.
Right.
That's what I hear. So break it down for me. What's so spectacular about NAD? Like, other than the fact that it's a chemical in our body already.
Right. So what's so spectacular that we use it for is how we detox people off of drugs with it. We don't have to use any narcotics. We don't have to use Suboxone. We don't have to use anything like that. And even I like to explain it to people whenever they come in, they're wanting to know about the program. You know, people on opioids nowadays, they've detoxed themselves several times normally.
Yeah.
That's the
they go
major
through
fear
it.
is,
Yeah.
right. And they don't want to go through that again.
Yeah.
So they know whenever I'll say, look, whenever you detox naturally off of opioids or in most other detox facilities, it's a huge mountain.
Right.
You know, 15 to
big
20
mountain.
days. It's a big mountain.
15 to 20 days?
Yeah.
To detox?
Well, no, not to detox. Where they're just going to feel like crap.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
And so, but it's a little hill with NAD.
Yeah.
So
the mountain actually becomes the molehill instead of the molehill.
Right.
Okay, so let me break that down to you guys on what I just heard Grant say. Incura is original because there's no other place that does NAD right here around us,
No
right?
other. Matter of fact, even in the country,
In Arkansas?
there's only a couple of them that are doing it properly.
Right.
We'll get into later about.
Great. So NAD removes all of the withdrawal symptoms that a person coming off of heroin feels?
Almost.
Almost.
Yeah, if you take opioids, for example, normally a person will just be vomiting, the body aches, the fever, sweat, and the diarrhea, everything.
Everything.
Normally what we see is we see no vomiting, we see a slight case of diarrhea, maybe a slight case of the chills and sweats for the first or second day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whenever you compare that to how normal detoxes are, how natural detox is, it's just a huge step ahead.
Yeah.
Especially for people that's their major concern, their major fear about getting clean is going through that.
Yeah, the fear of being sick keeps us sick.
Right.
Right, I get that. So, Miss McGill, what is your role at Incura?
Well, I was thinking I was going to chime in and say, and this is true, like I've seen this multiple times at this point. I've been with Incura for a few months now, since the end of last year, and I've really seen some miracles, and I've asked patients every day, I'm like, so you tell me, like, what did you think? And they're like, oh my God, like, game changer, and I have patients that I talk to daily that just, they're so grateful, and they cannot believe, like, the change. And
it's not just, not to interrupt, but it's not just the acute withdrawal syndrome that it helps with, but like, say for instance with meth, the acute withdrawal syndrome, well, you sleep through it,
Yeah.
It's not comparable to opioids, but that post-acute withdrawal syndrome that can last up to 18 to 24 months, that's our mountain. People that their drug of choice was meth.
Yeah.
But that's what she was leading into kind of there is where she's seeing those people in that post-acute stage, but she's seeing that post-acute stage being shrunk down.
Right.
And so people start to be able to think better and help with their depression and anxiety.
Right. So you're the boots on the ground, obviously. So Grant's kind of running the corporation, right? And so you're in there with the patients. Do you see a lot of success from it?
Yes, and then I was going to say too, also, my awesome nurse that I work with, she's thebomb.com, so we have a nurse for the detox. Ooh, they're watching me now, all my people.
Oh, that's awesome.
But so it's really cool because our nurse and we're actually a pretty good team at this point. We really care about the patients. We just work really well together. And we're both in recovery ourselves, and so
now that's cool. That's unique.
I know. I was like, "Hi, I'm so glad you're here."
You're like, "Hi, I'm Chelsea."
And we've actually worked. She's worked in a lot of the same kind of places that I have before previously, and so we just really work together well and care. I mean, we put patients first, and that's. In this business, I mean, you really just have to, because other than that, I mean, what are we doing?
Right. So that's awesome. So you guys do partial day,
and that's what I was what I said earlier. How we are we are actually, in my opinion, the only facility in the United States or in the world that's doing it.
My opinion too.
Because we follow it up. We followed up with PHP, partial hospitalization.
Yeah.
And then intensive outpatient.
Right.
Treatment, and that's where she's working in. That's where she's at.
Yeah.
But our whole program lasts 120 days. We can work on fixing the body. You can give an alcoholic a liver transplant that has cirrhosis of the liver, but if you don't stop drinking.
Yeah, we get it again. Right.
Yeah.
I get it. So it sounds like the only thing you guys are really missing is recovery housing. Right, like that sober living piece.
Oh, we're gonna get that too.
Dang, okay. Watch out. Incura has officially put y'all on notice. Robust. Look at you. Hear that new word I just created, Ricky? Robust.
Yeah. We bust you out.
Yeah. It becomes a really robust system of care, right? Like you've got the entire continuum of care across the service of care at that point. You've got detox, you've got counseling, you've got a therapist, obviously, Alyssa, right?
Yeah, clinical director.
Right, clinical. Now check this here out.
I'm obsessed with her. I love her so much.
So interesting fact about Incura is their clinical director used to be my parole officer.
She's the best, dude.
And she's still a parole officer, it seems like.
She's our parole officer.
She
Yeah,
keeps
she's our parole officer too, basically.
She gonna whip everybody into check. That's cool,
I
man.
said the other day, I said, man, you are the only person that can stand up and tell me to sit down and shut up and I'll do it.
She's not messed up
Yeah.
about it either.
She's not messed
It's like,
up.
okay.
Man,
She
that's
gets a
cool.
lot of phone calls from me, that's for sure, and
Yeah.
she's taught me a lot. And what I was going to say when we were talking about the sober living, like, I think that, and this is part of one of the reasons that I do like working with Incura and for Grant, like, I don't think that that kind of stuff can be rushed. I think it's very important to get the quality care where we're at first, and then add that in to the mix. And you can't rush quality housing.
No,
And,
you're
you know,
right.
you and I are really big on that. Like, I don't want to work for somewhere we're just like throwing a house out there and then, you know.
No, you're absolutely right. I dare say that we are probably the subject matter experts for sober living in the state of Arkansas, right? Like, as far as non-clinical, true recovery housing where people learn how to live, learn how to do dishes, brush their teeth, things that they're not going to learn
Put
under
cigarettes in the
ashtray and trash can instead on the floor and the ground. Yeah, I agree. So, and I agree with what you and Grant are saying. You need to perfect
Right.
each piece before you go on to the next. Better to have a well-organized, oiled machine that works properly than a clunker that works good in certain areas
Right.
and not so good in others. I get that.
Right.
That's great.
And whenever you take, for instance, too, that these people's lives are on the line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we really want to put into it our best. And thanks, man.
Yeah, that's what friends do.
You know, and I mean, that's just the point of it is these people's lives are on the line.
Yeah.
And so we want to do our best.
Man, that's awesome. And it sounds like a very innovative tool in the toolbox. So naturally, all we've really traditionally had in Arkansas is observational detox, where you go and get watched while you go through the sickness. MAT, Vivitrol, you know, well, you can't do Vivitrol until 7 days off of Suboxone or
Right.
Subutex.
And we do offer Vivitrol as well, so that's a new addition to us.
Great. I'm
And
a strong supporter of
Me
Vivitrol.
too.
We're gonna add that.
Everyone needs it.
We've added
Yeah.
it, into our program. So.
So if somebody doesn't want to detox with MAT, they can do it clean and simple with NAD. Through
That's right.
Incura.
That's right.
And so that's an awesome option, right? Because everybody doesn't want, there are going to be a lot of cases. And it seems like just from the times that I come over there to visit you or, you know, being the good hubby that I am, stop in for lunch and hang out with my wife for a minute. I mean, it seems like you guys have a pretty solid population. Like your clientele is,
Thebomb.com?
yeah, and they're really cool. They're really cool people that are getting help there. Like I go in there and they just start talking and chatting away with me,
Yeah.
you know.
And
And
that's
they're-
the culture
they're
we want,
cool,
too.
man.
We want, I think I told you early on, we want, you know, recovery, or should I say detox and rehab already is so bad. I mean, you're detoxing, it's already so miserable. We don't have to make it more miserable.
Yeah.
You know, let's have a good time. Let's have
Cutting
culture,
edge stuff.
right,
Yeah,
right.
cool.
Eat some snacks.
Eat some snacks.
Drink some coffee.
Coffee, cupcake. Woo, woo. So, what made you want to do this? What brought you into this field, Grant? Because you're an up and coming star, right? Like you're new
Yeah.
in the game. So, what
For
brought
sure.
that on?
So, I mean, before, my clean date is June 1st, 2019.
So you're in recovery
So,
too.
Yeah.
And so
I was-
that's a pretty new clean date to just jump in and open a
Right.
treatment center.
Right, yeah. And I can sum it up by saying just God ordained it all.
Yeah.
But I went to a treatment facility in Louisiana that did the detox only for methamphetamines. And, I mean, I was, you know, same old story at my end, at my wit's end. I couldn't
Yeah.
stop. I was relapsing. I went through a year where I was just trying to stop. Anyway, a friend told me about this place in Louisiana, and they offered the detox only. I went down there, and what really changed me, or made me start thinking, why is this not a standard of care? Was when I seen people, a guy sitting right beside me, opioid, and the guy sitting right beside him, opioids, benzos, alcohol. All these people
We're
were
simply
we already
detoxing.
yeah. Yeah, and 4, 5, 6 days in, they were totally different people.
That's insane.
the
I mean,
nurse-
that's that almost is too good sounding to be true.
know,
It's not. I've seen it.
Yeah, it is
have
something
people
you
right
definitely
now
have
that
to see. You have to see it. Whenever I went into this clinic that I got treatment at, I was talking to the nurses and I was like, "This has got to be." We're in New Orleans too. I said, "This has got to be some voodoo."
So I want to read you a comment that we got.
I like this part too.
NAD is the bomb.com. It really works. It's changed my life. I had no withdrawal symptoms, and I now feel better than I have in years. We love Incura. So I'm going to assume that's somebody that went through Incura.
Maybe.
Yeah, and so that's the type of success that we can really get behind, that you know, Arkansas needs to really embrace, because
When people really want to get treatment, when they're really ready,
yeah,
this is, you know, it's Incura is going to be your last stop, in as far as the rehab, your rehab is,
yeah.
you know, your trail goes. Normally, so I mean,
So okay, well let me shift gears real quick. What brought you into, what makes you want to work doing what you do there? What brought Chelsea
Do we have
McGill
time on
into?
the show? Well, and both of y'all know, so I got hooked up with Grant from Elisa,
Okay.
and thank you God, because I was getting out of the biz. I was like, I am done. I had tried to go back to a previous place that I worked before. It did not go well, and so in a matter of me leaving a over-the-computer job, where when COVID happened, we weren't able to go into facilities anymore. And so I was like, let me switch it up. You know, I switched up some things in my personal life. You know, we had some issues with the women's house during COVID. And
Yeah.
so I was like, let's just change everything, right? 'Cause that's
Now
what I do.
the computer job, that was a peer recovery specialist job.
It was.
You were working as a peer for a couple of years for New Direction Behavioral Health.
Yes, before they even, like, we didn't even have like a bunch of the peer stuff we do now whenever I got that job. So that was
Yeah.
kind of interesting. A lot of the peer stuff now, I mean.
Well, it definitely put you in the pioneer section,
Yeah.
because
Well, think about who my trainers were. That was the bomb.com. It was,
Ike Powell, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, you had basically the godfather of peer
Yeah,
support
the
training.
beginning. Yes.
And so you then took a clinical role and kind of jumped over there as a counselor for you guys, right?
Well, so I have a degree in psychology, and I had kind of been,
And she tries to use it on me
well, no, you get
all,
paranoid about
all the
that.
time.
And so anyway, like I said, I can make it a long story, but
I get
was,
paranoid of people with psychology. Too.
Yeah, they're like, are we trying to
Stay out my brain,
diagnose
stay out my
me?
brain.
I love it. I mean, I'm like, you can talk about this kind of stuff too. Like, it's like I'll keep Elisa on the phone for like an hour and a half talking about stuff like this. But
Yeah.
anyway, I decided I was gonna get out of working in addiction, and that wasn't what God kind of had planned. And I knew I didn't want to be a peer support specialist.
Yeah.
I knew I'm not as open about my my recovery journey, and I'm not quiet about it, but it's just, you know,
Yeah,
what
so
I've
I see
adapted
that.
to over time. And so anyway, man, and I was, oh my gosh, when I came in to Incura, I was like, I'm here to file paperwork and clean the toilets. Like, I'm done.
She did say that.
I'm done
That's
with
what I was
everything.
here for.
Like that's your job interview?
No, that's what
no.
she thought she was doing.
That's
She
what
was
I
like-
was like, no, I'm
the
not.
first day, she was like, I thought this is great. I mean, I thought I was going to be cleaning bathrooms.
I'm like,
So you went
I'm
to be
not
the
working-
janitor and end up being the
I was
counselor.
done. I was at the.
Now, let me get the
Yes.
disclaimer. She is qualified and properly licensed to,
I just had
to
a
be
hard
the
time
counselor.
believing I was qualified at first, but that's what was kind of crazy about the situation. I wanted to be a part of a small team. I love being a part of something like new and something that I believe in. I've always kind of got really, I would say, blessed with jobs like that I just really believe in and can go out in the community and be like, look, this is what's, you know, and promote, you know. And so Anyway, they were like, "Oh no, you're doing groups." I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
"No, I'm not. I'm here to clean toilets." And so what's crazy about that is there wasn't anyone else there with me, and I've actually, I'm getting it finally to where, you know, standing beside you all the time and trying to do like all this public stuff. I mean, it was really just starting to wear on me. And so it's my little group room with my awesome, you know, murals on the wall. And
Definitely want to hit on those murals, right? Like, so if you're watching this, I want you to know that as the state of Arkansas's recovery manager, which is my job title, I oversee all state-funded recovery initiatives, which puts me in a lot of treatment centers, a lot of different detox centers. I've seen a lot of rehabs. I've never seen such hip, cool, stylish atmosphere of recovery. This dude has got an entire wall painted in graffiti that says "We do recover" in giant bubble letters. He's got Eminem on there with a beatbox. He's got Iron Man. And Steven Tyler. You've got all these celebrities that are publicly in long-term recovery from drug addiction. Right. And so that just changes everything. Number one, it makes it fun, happy, encouraging, empowering. What made y'all want to do that? Because that is going to, like, there's a lot of treatment centers. I've never seen that anywhere.
I feel at home, that's for sure.
And it comes back to the culture that we want to have. You know, like I said, it's already so bad. Let's try to make it it's our job
As
to
cool
help
and fun as possible.
Fun. How many times were you in PHP and you're like, man, I am not feeling
This sucks.
This sucks.
Yeah.
Would it not have been nice to have something you can stare at,
And
act
then
like you're paying attention?
So you got this cool wall atmosphere that puts you in the mind of hip hop, right? And so they go from this cold, clinical, picture this, folks, typical detox, cold tile floor, bathrobes, trucking around, TV playing, you're zoned out. And instead of that, you're in recliners.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's talk about our detox room, though. Because
Yeah.
our detox room, I mean...
So,
Yeah.
but that's the first step. So the first
Yeah.
week, you're comfy, you're laid back in a
Yes.
recliner.
The
Yes.
detox, we tell the patients, like, we're going to baby you. We're not going to do it. You're going to go through detox the first 10 days. You're going to be in a recliner. We're going to take care of it.
Yeah. And so then you go from that into this cool room, and here comes Chelsea, all bubbly. Hey, what a cool day to be addicts. Got some snacks.
She's that one at 6 a.m. in the morning, like, good morning, everybody.
Hi, okay, we're going to have coffee. We're going to have a great day. Let's go over this comfort contract.
I'm not always like that. I mean, I'm not. Sometimes
You're pretty cool,
I
man.
come in and I say, "All right, y'all want to hear about some struggles in recovery? I've been in it for a while, and this is what happened to me." And I'll put it all on the floor for them, and they're like, "Whoa, okay." But you know, I think that's a really important part because we don't, you know, this isn't like we don't arrive. This is something that I work on every day, and I want to be. The fact that I like it so small is because I do want to be part of their recovery with them, you know.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Because
it is cool. You know, I still talk to patients from a year ago, and they're still clean. And it's cool to be part of that. You know,
Yeah.
to know these people.
and to keep it intimate like that, right? Like
Right.
small, unified companies like what you said that you started. So it sounds like with you, Grant, and Alyssa, and Lisa, and Janet, it was such a small team that you were basically put in a corner that you had to come out of your comfort zone.
Oh, for sure.
And
God
out,
pulled her
Especially
out,
with y'all,
and she's
too.
sitting right in her. She's sitting right in. Her,
and
where
now you
God
love
wants
it,
her, yeah.
and you love it, and it sounds like you guys have a really strong team at Incura.
Yeah, like I miss being at work. I miss my patients. I'll be like, I messaged him and Elisa a couple weeks ago. I was like, I kind of wish I was at work today or something. I was like, that's weird. Like, I don't want to go. I mean, I'm not going to like go on Saturday or anything. But that's just what I want, somewhere where I want to go to work.
Yeah.
Right. So let me shift gears one more time and ask this. Now I know Chelsea came up with a really innovative idea about a week ago. something about a peer intern program that you guys are getting ready to start. Is that something is it too early to talk about that?
I mean, I talked to you about it, and you talked to him, but I haven't talked about it.
So
But it was an idea. That's all I'm saying.
So, yeah. So here's what I think I'm hearing is Incura is going to have a couple of slots always available for at least 2 peers that are getting their hours to volunteer in a recovery treatment atmosphere.
Right.
And so that's a really strong demand because we've got 160 peers in central Arkansas in this area.
Right.
And they always need their hours, right? And so there's these places like there's nowhere that they can get them. And so that puts you guys.
Yeah, for sure. We want to, we want to be part of that. And it helps us as well. It helps our patients as well.
Yeah. Yeah, coolness. Yeah. So you've got therapy, counseling, medical side.
So when a patient's,
and
when
peer
a patient's
support.
in our program too, we're keeping their physical exams, their other conditions they may have, HIV, hepatitis C, diabetes. Any of those diseases are going to make you feel bad and make you, raise your chance to relapse. So anyway, the medical side is a big part of it as well.
Yeah, I bet. That's good stuff. So how long have you been in recovery? Grant told us his clean date. What about you?
I actually have 8 years coming up, so that should be interesting. And I want to have a celebration at Incura because I'm telling all my patients, I'm like, make sure you're here on this day. I don't celebrate a lot other than with my family. And so I'd like to make it kind of, because it's on a Monday. And
Well, that would be totally awesome.
I know, wouldn't that be cool? So it'll be 8 years. And
What date?
4/5/13.
April 5th.
I went, yep.
Yeah.
That's some years. I was thinking just a minute ago when you were talking that, you bring stability to me as well.
He doesn't always like that, though.
Huh?
I said he doesn't always like that. He's like, okay, I got it.
Yeah. Most of the time we are like that, huh?
Well, I mean, we're coming straight into a world that's like, what's abnormal is an addict not using.
Right.
Like the fact that we're not putting a substance in us, that's what's not normal, right? And
Swimming upstream.
when you see somebody get so fired up about what saved their lives that they want to go replicate that and give it to society, like that's pretty intense. So you need a strong team to keep you in line, just like I do. Like if
we're leading to. I mean, you think about it. The demographic that we work in is I was a liar, the best of liars, the best of cheaters, and so I mean we're trying to help these people through that addiction. So definitely
awesome.
we need these foundations, these pillars to walk it with us.
That's awesome. And what about public events? Do you see Incura hosting or partnering?
Yes.
Definitely. Definitely.
We had a booth. When was it? Was that Monday night?
Oh, at the drug awareness.
You went off.
I did go
went
off.
off,
I
boy.
went off like bottle rockets, Ricky. Pa pa pa.
I've been thinking of maybe we should do a basketball tournament to raise money for addiction. Something like that. I think it would be.
Or wait, no, what about because you're what is it? What kind of fighter?
Yeah, MMA fighter.
Yeah,
We'll have
so
a
y'all
pickup
need-
match, you and me, man.
Dude.
Listen,
People
Chelsea
would love
is
that.
trying to make her husband and her boss get in a cage and fight. And I'm like, I got veneers and one good lick and they're gone. And
Like veneers are stable, man.
not
Yeah,
when you
they're
get,
stable,
not when
That's-
you.
you're acting
Oh
like
yeah.
what?
They're
I got
stable,
two right
man.
here.
Well,
For my
well,
rocking my
well, let it
chains
grow.
as a kid.
Listen, the
I'm gonna
last.
back out of this one.
Yeah, the last
Back
thing
out.
you want is a grown man mouth shotting you in your grill.
Okay, I got an idea. Y'all can be the coaches for something, kind of like we did the kickball thing, and so y'all could be coaches and y'all could go against each other that way.
We could get those big balloon
Let's
boxing
just put the
gloves.
headsets on, man. We'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not messed up. I
Babe,
mean,
you're strong. You
I-
you can go like this.
Yeah, dude.
You're like, and it like just tapping it like I don't know. You're just really like heavy or
Ain't
something.
nothing outweighing street skills either.
yeah, that's a fact, dog.
That's life or death. Man.
That's a
Saving
fact.
is usually life or death.
Yeah. So, Yeah, public events, man. I would highly encourage that. You know, that's really what put Next Step on the map.
Yeah.
And I don't really talk about it a lot on the show because I don't want to endorse,
Right.
you know, my other thing. But
Well, COVID's been so weird right now anyway, or we would have been out at a lot more stuff.
yeah, I'm just saying like hosting events,
Right,
like
yeah.
public stuff, and it's just super cool, you know, and it gets your name out there and it gives you a chance to meet new people. So how does somebody go about getting in Incura?
So they would call our number. You want me to say our number? Right?
Yeah, go
Right.
for it.
So
Ricky
our
will
phone
type it
number
in.
is 501-747-1731. You call that number. The lady will answer the phone. That'll run through a admission screening. We'll check your insurance. If you don't have insurance, which is what we were talking about the other day, if you don't have insurance, we'll try our best to help you get insurance. They open back up open enrollment, so that'll be good for people that need to get insurance. Where they can come by and see us at 3805 McCain Park Drive
Yeah.
in North Little Rock, or
Okay.
look us up on the web at incura.life. It's a .life, not a
Sweet
.com.
120.
Yeah, Sweet 120.
Sweet 120.
120.
Man, that is totally awesome.
And don't give up if you come by there because the doors are a little weird, and
Yeah,
so
we-
people come knock on a different door. So call the number.
Call the number if you show up because the doors stay locked all the time.
Yeah.
And so,
So I'm going to give you a few minutes to talk about anything that you want to say and talk about, and then we'll let Chelsea have a few minutes to talk about and say whatever. We like to always try to give the last few minutes to the
geez.
viewers,
Okay.
and to those. And
No
so-
pressure.
no pressure.
So yeah,
No
take it
pressure.
away. Talk to
All
them.
right. Well, I want to go back to where we were talking about how I found out how I come across this. Like I said, I feel like it was God ordained from the beginning till now. God's done things. There's been money come available, just things that only God does, you know.
Yeah.
But whenever I seen it changing people's lives, and it changed my life. But whenever I seen it really changing people, opioids, on heroin, IV heroin for 15 years, and it changed their life, man, in 10 days. I was like, this has got to be, why is this not in Arkansas? You know, why have we not heard of this? And so I believe this should be a standard of care. This is definitely a great option for people, especially people that, you know, can't go to maybe a 30-day facility.
Yeah.
You know, they got kids or just can't figure it
Puppies,
out. Yeah,
dogs,
yeah,
cats.
Yeah.
Seems like everybody that doesn't want to go to inpatient doesn't because they got a dog and they don't want to leave their dog.
I hear it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the same excuses I give too. Huh?
That's good stuff, man.
But you know, most people are hesitant, or not most people, but a lot of people are hesitant because they never heard of it. Our doctor had never heard of it.
Yeah.
He said, this is stuff that we learned. He said, I learned in early med school. He said, we skimmed over and moved on. Most medical professionals have never heard of it. Or they have, they don't remember it maybe, and then once they start studying, they understand it. It's definitely a gift from God to humanity, especially with the current, you know, drug crisis we have going on. So
Yeah.
we're here for y'all.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. What about you, Miss Chelsea?
Well, what about me?
What do you got to tell the viewers?
When he brought up the like opiate, like I just want to enforce, like I've had a patient straight up fentanyl IV use and not take anything other than NAD infusion and do the 10-day detox and feel literally like, I mean, the person could just go on and on about how much it has saved that person's life. And so if you're saying, oh yeah, and then a lot, and working with these kind of guys like this, y'all don't say alcohol a lot. I like we have to say drugs and alcohol. I think that that's very important because, like,
It is.
I'm not just a drug counselor. I'm alcohol and drug counselor. We do alcohol and drug detox. Like it's you know, alcohol is a drug.
Right.
So this
And one of the deadliest. So
I was thinking that, and then I don't know what else I was
also,
thinking.
I wanted to mention too that we do detox for Suboxones and methadone.
Oh yeah, that's good.
So
Yeah,
that's a
good.
big question that we have.
It's good stuff.
I mean, I have a lot of other stuff, so I better
Just go on randomly. Till you
yeah.
find
So, well, I want to
Do
ask
you
you
have any
something.
questions?
Yeah, I do. So yesterday I saw you at a funeral, and it was pretty intense. Like I saw you and the mother, and like the second you and Brittany's mom saw each other, you lost it. You both lost it. The second she hugged you, she lost it. You lost it. You're sobbing. And that's a fentanyl overdose. And so the same thing that you are sitting here telling me, you've got people who have detoxed with no symptoms and have changed their life.
Yeah.
That addiction doesn't have to be a death sentence.
It doesn't.
Incura is offering you guys a way to detox without withdrawal if you want it.
That's right.
You don't have to be the next Brittany. You don't have to be the next Tanner or Clint. You don't have to be another Eric. You don't have to be I could just go on, you know.
And what's crazy about, her mom in the situation, and I see it often, is she held me and prayed for me to help the next person. I'm like, what?
That's pretty intense.
I'm trying to, like, I've got enough pain at this point. I'm trying to quit. Like, I'm literally wanting to file paperwork and clean toilets, and you've lost your child, and you're praying for me over me.
To help the next addict struggling.
Yes. And I mean, and that's their, I hear it all the time.
Ricky, you hear that?
That's their parents' number one. I would go as far as that is. I mean, I have seen parents stand up and go, all I want at this point is to save one kid, one other mom's child.
Golly.
I know, man.
And so
we want to give, we have to talk to each other every day. I have to go talk to y'all. I can't do it.
So while we're on the subject of Britt and your clean date, you got something else opening on your clean date, right? And it's in honor of Brittany, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna call it Brittany's house.
So tell me about Brittany's house.
It's a women's house in El Dorado, and it's going to be a smaller women's house. We've got a really awesome person there that you and I have worked close with, because she's
Nicole, awesome.
Almost, she's a person in a different area that really helps people get in whenever they're like.
Yeah,
like
she'll
your
go
mom
get them.
Says, you got that, man, you got about 10, 15 minutes when they make that call and say they want help. It's like, it's not,
Yeah, because we'll change our mind quick.
I'll talk to you in 20 days,
Right.
Or the houses we've worked in for that are like, hey, I need $250 before you get here. Like, what?
Yeah.
Please. And, we have, a lot of people have supports, and that still is not necessarily, I don't think that does anything for the person's treatment. But anyway, so we got another women's house, Here we go. It's going to be far from me this time, so there's not going to be
Plus you got a staff member up there, so yeah.
I mean, how hard was the women's house for us?
Yeah, the women's house.
Big women's house.
Yeah, the big women's house is pretty enough. We had 14 women in there at one time, and it was 14 different personalities. The men are way
I
easier.
work with all women.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's like, we need a man in here.
Yeah, we're looking for another clinical director. Lisa's gonna move on in a couple of months from us. She's moving up to Fort Smith.
Yeah, because she has to.
But I'm like, can we get some testosterone in here?
Can you get a male in here? What's the qualifications? What do you got to be a clinical director?
So what we need is a licensed social worker, a licensed, I think it's
or LPC too.
Is it LPC?
Mm-hmm.
And then LPC or a
I get them confused.
LMSW.
LCSW, licensed clinical social worker.
Ask Elisa.
I think it's a master.
Elisa's
I
watching.
think it's a master. What it's
Master
called.
level social
Master
worker
level social
or an
worker.
LPC.
Or
Yeah.
an LPC.
Right, got it.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, there you guys go. And also, if
Well,
you're
we have a link on the
On our
website,
website,
too. Like
www.incura.life.
so if you know a new up and coming clinical director, preferably a man, Grant wants some
Not really.
testosterone
It'd be
in
nice,
his
but-
office. He said, but not really.
No, it'd be nice, but whatever
I think
God
there's
wants.
enough
whatever
with
God
him, honestly.
Wow.
He's very bossy.
Somebody's got to.
So that's pretty awesome, and yeah, that's great. Well, do you guys have anything else you want to say?
I appreciate you having us here, and I think we covered it pretty well.
That's awesome. It's been a really great show. I want to encourage you to, if you know anybody in recovery in these small rural areas across Arkansas, you know, country areas where there's not any support, please inbox the recovery clinic. Send me a message. We are looking for people who want to go through peer recovery training. Now, you've got to have 2 years of recovery and a GED to get in the training, but that's it. So message us, and we will get you connected to Kyle Brewer, who is the NADAC Peer Recovery Program Certification Manager, and we'll get you trained. We are trying to put peer support workers in all 75 counties of Arkansas. If you want Narcan training, message me here at the recovery clinic. I've actually got a new staff member who will be starting in the next couple of weeks.
Yay.
Yeah, it's taken 3.5 years of overworking me to death for me to finally get some help. And so shout out to Ashley. She will be, one of the things she'll be doing is managing the
Did Ashley
messages.
start working for you?
Yeah,
You
it's
lucked
really
out
cool.
there, didn't you?
I did. So,
I'm nervous for the both of them.
yeah, so listen, we can get you connected with Narcan training. If we can have somebody from CJI come out to your facilities, host the training, and equip you guys with Narcan. If you need help with anything, treatment or recovery, message us. Don't worry about if you don't have insurance. Don't worry about if you're broke. Don't worry about if you don't have ID. Message me at this page, and we will get you connected to who you need to get connected with to get the help you need. You don't have to be in a coffin. You don't have to be the next funeral that we're at crying.
Amen.
We love you guys, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 11 a.m.